And what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Designated Players and MLS podcast. We are kicking off season six. And back in season five, we had so many milestones. We broke through followers, subscriber counts. I mean, month by month, we were just hitting new things. And we figured it was time to do a little bit of celebrating to bring on something big. And to do that, we are absolutely thrilled to be joined by what we can only describe as a legend of the podcast, face of the hashtag Year of Omir. It's Omir Fernandez from the Colorado Rapids. Omir, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, my guys. How are you guys doing? Thank you for having me.
Good, good. We're
Doing
we're
great.
here. Connor, yeah, we've been talking about this for ever since we heard back from you. We've been talking about it, prepping this, and we're really excited. Like I meant, I mean, I just kind of hinted at it, but I'm also joined by Connor for our sixth season together, which is insane that we were saying that. But Connor, how are you? It is good to be back.
6 seasons is a lot. It's a little too much, if you ask me.
It is. I think we've been going a bit too much, but it's all come down, and it's been worth it because we're here with a fantastic guest, and we are so excited to talk to Omir about his prep for the 2025 season, a little bit about the 24 season, everything in between. But before we do that, of course, we have to chat about scarf of the week. Omir, I know you say you don't have one. If you had a favorite scarf you're going to choose, which would you show out?
So like I told you guys, not my setup. I'm not ready for this one, but I have one in Colorado that I got in Manchester because I'm a United fan. And so I got one like a Manchester United one. It's really personal for me because I didn't buy it in the US or online. I went to the actual store. So I think for me that one's my favorite one. Um, that one means the most to me.
Yeah, I love that. That's always my thing. Whenever I visit a stadium or go somewhere cool, got to pick up a scarf.
Yeah,
Got to add
exactly.
it to the
Yeah,
collection. Yep.
100%.
Connor, what are you rocking?
So I didn't think I'd ever be wearing this jersey again, but I'm making an exception for this episode, especially. But I've got the old Red Bull jersey on, and just to tie it all together, got the
I saw.
Colorado scarf.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
got a little bit of both for you.
I saw that one. No, I appreciate it, man. As soon as I saw the colors, I knew exactly where that scarf was.
Yeah. Oh man, I was gonna bring out two because I've got the very old school Colorado Rapids, like '96 Colorado Rapids in the closet. But I figured I couldn't pass up the opportunity to rock RBNY yet again. So I'm bringing out just one of the
Yeah,
many
you
that
got
I've
it
got.
upside
It's
down.
upside down, as always. It's always upside down. But yeah, just basic Red Bull on the front, and of course I had to bring out one of the ones that meet in the front. It's a requirement on the pod. You gotta have one that meets in the front. It's brings it up to another level. So I figure before we get into questions, we should start about how we got to Year of Omir, how we got to this hashtag, and brought this in because it was roughly right about the time you had gotten going in New York. I think it was our first or second season, and we were making predictions for how the year would go. And we usually do like breakout player. And one of the things that came up to me was as a Red Bull fan, I had to pick somebody from Red Bull, of course. And I had the gut feeling on the day to just say that it was going to be Omir's year. And then I said the year of Omir, if you will. And from there it stuck and we kept using it. And every year you kept improving, which was really, really fun, increasing your minutes or goal contributions. And then finally you get into Red Bull's team, you drop your best goal contributions. I think it was up like towards 10. And as we're finally getting ready to see you be a real big focal point, Chris Armas steals you over to Colorado. So we don't use it as much for New York anymore, but we did gladly transfer this terminology over to our friend Matt Pollard at Burgundy Wave, and he's keeping it safe over there out west. So that is kind of how it came about. Apologies if we have spammed you with it to a point where I'm surprised we weren't blocked at that point. But we it was always something that I was proud of because coming through our academy system, again, a Red Bull fan, somebody who really loves watching our players go from ground floor all the way up through to their success. It was really, really something we were proud of. So just wanted to share that with you and say thanks for being here and being a part of what
No,
Red Bull does for us, you know?
no, it means a lot. It's because it's like especially those like the beginning years for me, nobody really prepares you for like the transition from college or whatever, youth soccer to professional. And sometimes the pressure would get to me, especially being kind of young and just my own pressure on myself. And I wanted to do big things right away. And sometimes it took a lot of patience. But at the end, like seeing people like for example, you guys and having that for me, I was never gonna block you guys for that. I always saw it. Even when I don't know, I would miss chances, we would lose games, we weren't doing good. It's every single time, I would see you guys supporting me and it meant a lot to me. So for exactly like I told you guys, like when I saw your message, I was hoping it wasn't too late because like you guys might think it's something little, but it gave me a lot of it brought me happiness. A lot of people can say bad things on online, but the guys that can motivate you and bring you happiness to the game is amazing.
Well, I'm glad we were able to make that connection here because that's what it's all about, right? So I'm going to send it over to Connor for our first real question to get going here.
I guess we'll kind of keep it vague to start off with, but just like recapping 2024 year, busy year for Colorado, going from bottom of the West to a playoff team, really a resurgent year for Colorado. Uh, Good run in the Leagues Cup and now a spot in the Champions Cup. But I think we just kind of wanted to see like a little recap. What was it like being a part of that resurgence for Colorado last year?
No, it was good. I think obviously when I was doing the free agency, I was always more of an East guy. I never really paid attention to the West. Just gonna be completely honest. And obviously I didn't know much about Colorado. I never visited, never thought about visiting. I was always a city guy. So when Colorado was really interested in me during, you know, like towards the end of the season while I was still in New York, when they found out I was gonna be a free agent, quickly they were, in contact with me and that's something as a player that you appreciate just, kind of being wanted, feeling important. So going over to Colorado, I knew that there was going to be struggles. But hearing from the higher ups, because believe it or not, I was in talks with Colorado before they had a head coach. So they were telling me that good things were coming. There was ideas of certain head coaches coming, certain players. So obviously we hear that Chris is coming. Have a good chat with him, and obviously makes it more comfortable for me. And then, kind of hearing what the project is, it was very enticing for me as a player that's, in my 24, 25-year range. He told me I was going to be involved with more players similar to me, that it was going to be a good year. And, obviously the beginning of the year, I never expected to have a good year as a team. And I think everybody, the mindset was just so different. I think all of us that were on the team expected ourselves to be in the playoffs, to perform well. We know we had good players. We just needed to win games. And it was good. Obviously, you're winning games, you're performing well. The locker room is happy, the chemistry builds, and I think you can see that. I think it still shows that the team is very, very young and has a lot to improve. So obviously we're excited for year two now.
Andrew,
Yeah,
I'm gonna jump in and go
go
off
ahead.
topic already.
Yeah, love it.
I wanted to take the chance while you mentioned. I know you said you're an East Coast guy. You're from the Bronx, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask because I think I read somewhere that growing up, obviously you were in the Red Bull Academy, so I'm assuming obviously ties with Red Bull. What was it like, kind of growing up with those ties to Red Bull, and then having a new team come in playing in the Bronx? Did it give you like that extra motivation to like play harder against them, or like was there like this extra added bit to the like rivalry with them for you?
Yeah, so I think maybe I forgot when they came into the team or into the league, but obviously I was already on the academy and they didn't get an academy till years later. But I was always a Red Bulls fan. It was the only team in New York. I went to go watch them when they were still at the MetLife. I didn't get out to many games just because of accessibility. So, but I did go out to a few games, and obviously, just being from New York, you want to support the New York team. So that was what I call my hometown team. And obviously, playing in the academy, I just had more pride to it. But obviously, you see this new team come and all this hype around it, and obviously, they had big players come in. The biggest thing for me was that a bunch of my friends were like our New York City fans. So like in my whole high school, they were all New York City fans. They would tell me like, "Yo, we're New York City fans until you make the first team, then we'll support you." You know what I mean? But we'll always be NYCFC fans. And so it's actually a crazy that we would go to Yankee Stadium to watch Red Bulls against NYCFC, and I would have to sit. I would be sitting. I think we might have went two or three times. I was sitting with the fans, the NYC fans, because those are the tickets my friends would get. But I was I was supporting the Red Bulls, so it wasn't tough. It was honestly, it added like a little bit more, like you said, like a little hunger that whenever New York won, I would celebrate it in their face. Obviously, when they won at Yankee Stadium 7-0 was probably one of the biggest things for me. But then the next game I go to, I think I remember Jack Harrison scoring and all this stuff happening. So that wasn't good to watch. But obviously, none of us really expect, or I expected it, but nobody really thought like, oh, hey, he's gonna play for New York Red Bulls one day. And so when I was able to make that happen, playing against NYCFC meant a lot to me. It meant so much to me. So I was happy that for the most part of my career with New York, we came out on top.
Andrew, you know a thing or two about sitting in the city section, huh?
Yeah, my brother supports City. I support Red Bulls. So whenever we go to Derby matches, it's whoever's got the home tickets, that's where we're
Yeah.
ending up to sit. So yeah, I was at the 7-0 game too. I was 4 rows up off of the first baseline as we like to call it, and it was quite the fun time. But yeah, I was at all those games. Jack Harrison, the Ben Sweat goal. I mean, I remember them all very very well.
No, I remember that one. We were sitting in the fan section. We were literally front row,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Wow, this is crazy."
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
no,
Well,
it was good, man. I obviously, like I said, playing and them getting to. I think they wouldn't come out to many of my games just because of they were obviously in school and I was already playing. But
mhm.
my friends actually got out to the NYCFC game against us. Oh, what now? 2 years ago when we played them in the Leagues Cup.
Mm.
Um, and they were sitting with the NYC section because now one of my friends actually works with NYCFC as a like a ticket coordinator.
Uh-huh.
Uh, so he got them seats up there, and they actually watched me play against NYCM score actually, but they couldn't celebrate because they were with the NYCFC fans.
That little bit of comeuppance, if you will, right?
No,
The
exactly.
Yeah.
They were all so happy. They're always supporting me, but you know, it's good.
Love it, love it. Well, let's come on back then to this year, right? You're into the Champions Cup as we mentioned, and you're preparing for year two in Colorado. First off, how you feeling, right, going into the preseason? Then everybody here knows all about a Chris Armas preseason and what that means. Has he switched it up a little bit to make it a Western Conference edition, put you guys on the front foot, or is it the same thing that he was doing in Red Bull?
I feel good. I feel excited. I think hopefully I can get. You said Matt is in charge of the new hashtag. Hopefully I can get Matt to start using that hashtag again because personally last year I wasn't satisfied. Obviously, I think I'm not gonna hide from it. I was not too happy with just the numbers. The performances were well, but it's the numbers for me that obviously I want to improve with goals and assists. So I kind of take pressure off now and expect to bring it this year. I feel very good. Been training, been trying to stay healthy, eat good, and all that good stuff. But no, Chris Armas is he's the same man. He's the same guy, man. He's the same goofy coach, but I think he's different as well in a good way. Is what I tell people now. I think he's improved so much as a coach just with the experience of everything he's got. Preseason last year was kind of similar to what he's done for the most part. Working hard, but usually playing. It's not really fitness of just running without a ball. It's kind of more fitness of pressing and transitions and stuff like that. But I think Chris knows that he has players that can obviously give him the press and work hard off the ball, but he's been trying to implement even last year stuff on the ball. He has players that are good on the ball, can create chances and can be dangerous. So he's definitely trying to adapt and give us like how you said, put us on the front foot.
Good, good. Yeah, it's good to hear he hasn't changed. He actually was a coach back in the Lindenhurst system way back when, and I've got friends who've played for him, and I knew him, you know, tangentially, but I never got to play for him, unfortunately. But good to hear he hasn't changed too much.
He's amazing, man. He's great.
Yeah.
I guess staying on the topic of Chris, um, obviously we talked about it already. Played for him in New York, played for him again in Colorado. Anything in terms of 2025, like anything us or the fans should keep an eye out for what he's bringing to the table for the new year? Anything new he's looking to bring in or introduce?
I think, like I said, more on the ball stuff for us. I think we're not gonna go away from the aggressive pressure off the ball. I think that's something that he's since New York has had a lot of passion for. And even now I can see it with certain tweaks and modifications to help us as a team. But, for him, that's one of the biggest thing is being aggressive and being on the front foot off the ball. I think, like I said, something new that we're gonna try to implement is us more. What are we gonna do when we have it? What are we gonna do with the quality of players that we have? Because like we all know it, the press, people can figure out the press, or sometimes people are gonna back off and let you have the ball. And you have to break certain teams down, and we kind of saw that last year as well. And I think that's something new. I think more creativity from our players. I think the players that we have are good, man. I've played with a good amount of players, and the players that we have on the team have this so many traits, so many qualities that can make us an even better team than what we showed last year, which is super exciting, I think. And I think from Chris, you're never gonna get complete. How would you say, like, you can't? He's never gonna be comfortable. He's never gonna be okay with what he did last year. He's gonna wanna.
He doesn't want to get complacent.
He does not want to get complacent at all. I
Yeah.
think I think everybody should definitely expect that from Chris. That he's definitely, he's proud of what we did last year, but he's not gonna, satisfy for just last year. He's gonna always want to improve and get better and make us better as well.
That's so exciting. I love preseason and off season stuff because you always have that anticipation of like what's new, what's coming next, and
Yeah.
and especially with a team that's big into off the ball pressures and transition moments, like you have so much room to grow and improve in those areas on the ball that it's going to be really, really fun. I mean, you saw Red Bull do it last year, right? Where for the last 4 years it was knock it long and press, knock it long and press, and then we started playing out, and it was like, oh, we can do that. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to see what you guys can do there.
Hmm.
Yeah. In Colorado, though, of course, right? It's not the same as New York, as most people can guess. Did you find it difficult adjusting to getting over to the West Coast, the time change, the altitude, things like that, or was it relatively smooth for you?
No, it was tough. I think, as much as I hate to admit it, it was kind of tough for me. I think just everything shows with, I guess, with the numbers last year and everything. But obviously those things like the altitude, normal. I think just with time, I was able to adjust with it to it. And like I love it. I love, being able to get used to that and go to other places and be able to feel like I can run forever. But they prepare us. We do our preseason in Mexico, where I think the altitude is even higher than what it is in Colorado. So it's a good preparation. But I think last year was a good wake up call that I have to prepare in preseason, and obviously when I'm not on the field and training to adjust to these other things. I think the West is different than the East for sure. I don't know how to explain it. There's just something a little bit different from it. Just the style of play and just the feeling. I don't know. I have no idea. I feel like in the East, I would explain it to guys. It's like every single game was like a dogfight. Like you look at teams that like Philadelphia, like DC United, even New York. Sometimes there's just a bunch of dogfights, and whoever tends to want it more wins the game. In the East, it's a lot like there's a lot of like passing, transition, stuff like that, you know, getting used to and stuff like that. But definitely some getting used to.
Nice.
That's what we've been saying. I feel like remember Andrew at the start of the year we kept talking about like oh the East is a bloodbath. It's like you got
Yes.
like Miami, Columbus over there, and like a bunch of other teams that I think don't get the same press but are still like really tough teams to play against. So I could totally understand that. I feel like also people overseas probably wouldn't have the same appreciation for like what you're talking about. Like they might just see like, oh, he's staying within the same league. It's like how much of a difference could it really be? Because it's like in England, you can go from one team to another team and it's like a half an hour drive away. But like
Yeah.
here, it's like totally different going from New York all the way over to Colorado. It's like everything's different over there, even though you're like still within the league.
Oh yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I don't get to play New York this year. Like, you have to travel sometimes all the way to the East Coast. Like last year, we played NYCFC in City Field. We had to travel all the way there. It's what, 2 hours behind. It's a long flight, stuff like that. Yeah, but it's fine. I try not to use those things as excuses or like as whatever, just because it's part of, you know, it's a part of the job, as you would say. So I try to just do what I can to recover and be ready for every game as best as we can.
Yeah, that's totally fair. So I'm not sure if I have this number right or not, but I think this might be your seventh or eighth year now in the league. Apologies if I have that number wrong, but any personal goals that you're looking forward to in maybe either the 2025 season or even thinking a little bit further than that in the near future?
Maybe year seven, five at Red Bulls, one, six, seven. It's year seven.
Crazy.
Um, nah, I know. I know. I still feel like I just got out of school and, decided to play. But no, I think every single year I want to get better. Like we said, last year was a little bit tough. Good for the team. Personally, I've always want a little bit more. I think for me, I want to demonstrate that I don't want to obviously I'm not a young kid anymore. As you can say, I'm a little bit experienced in the MLS now, so I want to demonstrate that I am how would you say it? Like I am a dangerous attacking player. I think I've demonstrated throughout the years that I can press and I'm a player that can play off the ball defending. But I want to demonstrate this year, obviously, with good performances, with good numbers, that you know he can put up a lot of good numbers. I have a number in my mind um, that I try to just keep and remind myself of, but not put too much pressure on. So I have certain stats that I want to hit. But obviously, I want to demonstrate that I'm an elite play. I'm an elite attacking player in the league these next few years for sure. I think I'm getting to that perfect age of maturity and experience. So I think I want to demonstrate that and not just be good for a few months or good for a few games. I want to be consistently an attacking threat and solidify myself as that.
Consistency, consistency. Love it. Well, we know that you are home for the holidays, and we really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us today. But we were hoping to fire off just a blah, 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 a couple of quick fire questions in from us and some of the fans from New York and Colorado before we get off. Is that all right?
Yo, you got me until whatever time you guys need me.
Oh, don't say that because we might be here all day.
Wait,
Yeah,
well then
just
I'll take that opportunity then.
until 6:30 actually, because I have to go to train. But you guys got
6:30.
me. Yeah,
All
that's
right.
my next um whatever commitment.
All right. Well, let's see how long it takes to get through some of these questions. And the first one here: any pre-match superstitions you like to go through?
So many, so many. I'm a
Yeah,
superstitious guy.
I love it.
I'm a superstitious guy. When I was in New York, not much here, but when I was in New York, there was so when I did my first preseason ever with the first team as an academy kid, I'll remember we went to Tucson, Arizona, and preseason whatever they have a first team that plays 45, second team that plays 45, and I was in the second 45. We played Houston Dynamo, and I was listening to a certain song. It was a Spanish song, and I told myself, I was like, yo, if I score today, like this song, I'm gonna play it every single time. And like, yo, it's a first team game. This is like my first team, like a preseason against professionals, and we played against Houston. Going at halftime, we were losing 2-0, and I scored. And so then I decided every single time I would listen to this song at a certain time. And and so there was a song in New York that I would listen to. Um, that was kind of pretty big superstitious thing, I guess. There's a lot, yeah, I have to do certain things, but in the morning, I have to do certain things before. But that I think that one was the biggest one.
Do you prefer a goal or an assist?
Oh, I prefer a goal. I prefer oh man, I prefer goals, goals, goals. Easy.
Love it. Love it. All right. You lived in two different states now. You
New
prefer New York
York.
area or Colorado? Which one do you prefer?
New York.
Yeah.
That's the right answer.
New York. NYC.
Favorite match you've played in?
Favorite match? Oh my gosh. So there's two. There's I'm gonna say two, and then there's the third one just because it was my first goal ever. It was the Champions League against Santos Laguna. I think the Champions League just being a big game. Um, in Mexico, I think it was really cool, and I was able to score. Um, my last year we played NYCFC and we won 1-0, not in the Leagues Cup, but in the league, and I scored from outside the box. I think that game was just cool because we weren't doing great, but there was still so many fans for that game. And it was lit like Troy's second game or second game as coach.
Yeah.
And just to see so many fans, there was so much buzz about it. And obviously again playing against NYCFC and to score and win the game was pretty cool. And then last year we played against Club America, and for me that was a big game, just because of the ties that that team has to my family, and the atmosphere was amazing. I think that was so cool. And to be able to start, and I thought I played well, and for us to win the game was sick.
Love it, love it. All right, into the locker room now. Favorite locker roommate, whether it be New York, Colorado, it could be one of each. Who's the guy that you walk in, you're like, all right, we're in here.
Damn. So in New York, Drew was funny, man.
Was he
Drew,
really?
Drew was a good time. Drew is so loud and so happy and like super energetic at 8 in the morning. We're like, you're just getting in, we're tired, and Drew's like, when he's coming into the locker room and he's playing the music, he's doing everything, he's getting everybody in that right mood. So him for sure. In New York and in Colorado, I'm gonna say Kevin Cabral is funny, man. Kevin is funny, man. He bring similar to Drew. I so happy all the time, having a good time, and I think he just the energy you see from those guys, it makes the locker room just better.
Yeah, I could totally understand that. Even
Yeah.
if it's 8 in the morning though,
Eight in the
that
morning,
might be
you're like,
tough.
man, I'm tired. How can you be so happy and so energetic?
Yeah, I could relate to that. I'm not sure your answer may change on this one, but figure I'll throw it your way anyway. Favorite hotel roommate or bus ride seat partner?
My favorite roommate was Frankie.
Oh yeah.
Frankie, Frankie is my man. Frankie's my guy, and for the most part, after COVID, we had no roommates. I didn't know if
Mm.
you guys knew that, but we didn't have. It was very rare that you got roommates. Until my last year in New York, you know, I had a little bit of seniority. So did Frankie, and if we were, which we all were, we were in the same trip every game, every away game. We were roommates every single time, and like we knew what we were doing. We would watch movies together. We would listen to music. We would do our thing, and we always had we always had fun in our rooms and in the away trips.
Do you prefer a roommate or no roommate?
Nah, I prefer no roommate. You
That's
prefer
fair.
no roommate, yeah. Just so you have your space, you can sleep, you can shower whenever you want, you can watch whatever you want. You don't have to worry about anybody else.
Uh, sending me back to my college away trip days. We had some fun
Yeah.
ones too. All right. You one player for each of these. Doesn't matter. New York, Colorado, Academy, whatever. Best and worst music taste in the locker room.
Um, Worst, yo, there's some yo, I don't know who used to play this in New York, but it was just like a bunch of like country music, but it wasn't like newer country music. It was like older country music. I don't know. Like I don't know who would play it. I don't know if it was like the Neelis. I don't think it was the Neelis brothers, but it
That,
might
that
have
almost
been.
that almost feels Ryan Mara-ish.
I
That
don't
feels
know.
Ryan Mara-ish.
I think Ryan just let us do it our own thing. He likes anything. He listens to a good amount of music. I don't think it was him because he plays good music. Drew was good. I think Drew was good. He tailored to everybody. And in Colorado, Kevin tailors to most people. He's more of a French music kind of guy, but it's pretty good. It's all right.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Toughest opponent that you've gone against.
Yo, toughest opponent was just because of one. So, yo, my first preseason ever as a pro now, we played against Portland, And Chris Armas said, "Yo, you're gonna play with the first team." And so I've never, so when I was in college, I only played left wing. Chris Armas sees some, I don't know what he saw, but I played striker, I played 10, I played so many positions with him, but he put me as the center 10, and I went up against uh Diego Chara. It was the best. It was, and you know, I thought I'm pretty quick, I can dribble, and so I didn't really know who he was. I just knew he was a six. He looked, tucked in his shirt. I was like, okay, like he's probably like a little aggressive. That's what he gave, the vibe he gave me. And I thought, man, I'm gonna take him on easy, go sprint past him. So when I took him on and I put my head down to run, I thought I got past him. Next thing you know, he comes in, clean tackle. I'm on the floor. I roll over, and I'm like, damn, man, like this is a tough game. And so I think just from remembering that one, um, I will say him. He was a he was a good welcome to the league moment.
Oh man, that's so funny because we talk about it all the time as just fans. Like, yeah, that Diego Chara guy keeps going, and you surely were on the receiving end of that one, weren't you?
No, I didn't know who he was. Obviously, I didn't really know who he was at the time, and just you see you're playing up against you know this player. I'm like, okay, like I know what I can do. I'm dribbling past him, boom, I'm running as fast as I can. He comes in from behind, I don't see him, and then like a scissor tackle, clean because nothing happened. It turns around, and I'm on the floor, just like, wow, good one.
Oh man, this can be player or team. This next one, and that's dream opponent, dream player, dream team to go up against. I know you're a United fan, is I'm sure that might tie into this one.
The dream player I would want to play against is Ronaldo. I think playing against Messi was you can't even describe it. It's you can't describe it. You just have to live it. It's like a movie. I would explain it. It's like fake. But for me, Ronaldo was always my number one. So I think playing against him, it would be even worse for me. Like even crazier. And dream opponent would definitely be United, I think. If I could play it over there. That would be crazy. That would be
Love it.
insane.
Yeah, I can understand that.
That would be insane.
Uh,
When I went to go watch him, I almost cried. And so just imagine like playing. It was would have been crazy.
oh, maybe it'll be even better if you play for them instead of
That would be
against them.
insane, huh? I would
Yeah.
cry.
Your most influential or crazy coach. It could be whatever level, doesn't matter.
I'm gonna say just two. I'm gonna say Troy was big for me. I give so much props to Troy just for the person that he is, for the job that he did with the team and with me. I think I told him what my goals were. I told him, I said I went into his office when he was head coach. I said, Troy, I want to be, or when he was an assistant coach, I said, Troy, I want to be a big player for this team. I want to contribute a lot. I want to be a superstar. I want to perform. And I need you to hold me to those standards. And every single day when I didn't bring it or my attitude was wrong, he would tell me to my face, like, yo, you're not bringing it today. You're playing like shit. You know what I mean? And when he became a head coach, it didn't change at all. And I think we saw it like in my last year. I had good goal contributions. I had good performances. And I give it to him. I give it to Troy for being influential for me and making me transition a little bit into that kind of player. And the other one would be I'm gonna give shout outs to Jeff Zahn. He was the coach that brought me into the Red Bulls Academy. And he saw me and he convinced me. He tried for so long to convince me to join the academy, which I almost didn't. So without him, I wouldn't have joined the academy and then we don't know what would happen. So
Interesting. Yeah, that's you never hear about the academy getting to the academy stories, how, how close kids were to not making it there, or one wrong tackle and their academy's over. I mean, that's kind of that's a whole I feel like that's a whole other conversation. We can go on that for hours because
exactly,
it's
yeah.
such a weird dynamic, I think.
Yeah, the whole story of that is crazy to me, but definitely him. Him and Tyler Adams were the ones that convinced me.
Oh
Uh,
yeah?
yeah. So I mean, Tyler, we would go to the U.S. national team camps, And he would tell me like, "Yo, we're making a U14 team next year. My coach wants you. Like, what's your phone number?" Gave him my number, and he would tell me like, "Yo, come." And then the coach would call me and be like, "Yo, you gotta, we want you, this, and that." And I was with a previous team for so long, I didn't want to leave. I was like, "No, like my loyalty's on this team. Like this is my team." And I remember the coach goes, "Yo, this is like kids don't get this opportunity. Like you have to understand. Like after this, like I'm done. Like I'm not gonna call you anymore." And my dad kind of told me to to make that switch. And then there was a player that was on my previous team that wanted to go to Red Bulls. He was like, "I'll leave right now. I don't care." And so I asked, I was like, "Yo, like, can my friend come with me?" And so they were like, "Yeah, we'll give him a tryout." And we both went and we both were at the academy. But I wouldn't have left if my dad didn't say anything, if Jeff didn't press me, and if my friend didn't come with me.
Yeah. It's so many moving parts to make something like that happen.
Exactly. And then obviously
That's
years later, I'm like, man, imagine I didn't leave and I stayed. I would
right.
have been
Yeah.
tragic.
Yeah. Where would you have been, right?
I don't know.
Uh, well, last one here, and then Connor's got one more. Hudson River Derby or Rocky Mountain Cup? Which one? Which one takes the cake?
Yeah.
It's a tough one. We're ending on the tough ones here.
Right now, it has to be the Hudson River Derby just because I lived it for so many years.
Hmm.
Um, Shoot, I told you guys I went to the playoff game just last or a few weeks ago when they played.
Yeah.
I was watching it and it's that whole environment still affects me because I've just lived it for so long. But the Rocky Mountain Cup is up there for the MLS rivalries. I played 3 games and the fans are crazy. The teams go crazy. And like I told you, the West is like a little bit different, just the style. It's dirty. It's tactically tough. Like those games were tough, man. And so I think as of right now, it's the Hudson River Derby, but that Rocky Mountain Cup, man, like I'm starting to understand why these guys don't like Real Salt Lake, why they don't like us, and just understanding that rivalry more. So I think sooner or later that might overtake it for sure. But right now, Hudson River Derby.
I feel like Rocky Mountain Cup's not getting the attention that it probably deserves. I feel like every time it's a rivalry game, it's like they're hyping up El Trafico, Hudson River Derby, like Hell's Real. I
Oh
feel
yeah.
like you just don't hear about Rocky Mountain Cup that much.
And I think they're like you start hearing it maybe more. Maybe you'll hear a little bit more. Hopefully this year, just because the teams, I think before coming here, Colorado didn't win for a few years. It was always kind of like just Real Salt Lake. So I think hopefully this year, now that they know that obviously they have a good team as well, um, it'll be more, it'll get more attention. I think for me, just living it and playing in those games, yeah, I can feel it, man. It's a tough game. It's those are tough ones and exciting to play, honestly. After the first one, I wanted to play the second one. After the second one, we wanted to play the third one to win the cup, and then obviously you win the cup, and I think hopefully it'll get more attention. But it ultimately up to us to you know have good games, have good results, so people look
Yeah.
forward to them.
Yeah. Well, before Connor takes his, I'll share this. We were collecting stories. We do a separate series on the show where we go through big moments in MLS history. We retell those stories. We do this whole big research thing, and at the end of every year, we ask, "What's what out of this year are we adding to our list?" Everybody in Colorado dropped the Rocky Mountain Cup win. I mean, every single comment was like the PK from Cole Bassett to win the cup. PK from Cole Bassett to win the cup. I was like, I didn't even know Cole Bassett scored a penalty kick, let alone
Yeah.
like won the mountain. So it's one of the things that I have on my list for 25 to keep a really close eye on because it seems like it is a really really fun time out there.
Yeah, I mean, like you got to think like I'm come from New York. What am I so like? I can't come in and I don't know what to expect. Like the Rocky Mountain Cup, okay, yes, it's a rivalry, but the fans, the players that are from there, Cole, um, Oliver, all these kids that are from Colorado made sure we knew like what this cup meant to us. You know, the staff, the higher ups, the fans would tell me like when I signed, I went to go see them. You guys can lose every game, but if you guys win the Rocky Mountain Cup, we'll be happy. And you're like, man, like these games they matter. And to for us to have that story ending, like the fairy tale ending of Cole winning the PK for us after a rain delay at home, in front of our fans was amazing, and it definitely is up there for sure.
That sounds right up our alley for MLS history episode. So,
Oh yeah, it'll be on there for sure.
well, it's probably going to be years before we actually get to that point because we have a lot of other stuff to cover first. But speaking of great teams, I'm admittedly not super well versed in college soccer, but I got to say, when I was doing a little bit of research ahead of time, you're I would say both years you were there for Wake Forest, that team was stacked with talent. My goodness, like Emma Tumasi, Machop Chol, Brandon Cervania, Mark McKenzie on that team. Like that was sick. Like, did you know ahead of time that like that team was going to be stacked with that much talent?
I'm not gonna lie. So like all of us are good friends, or my freshman class, we were good friends just from youth academy. Obviously, Mark was at Philadelphia, Brandon was at FC Dallas, but these national team camps would unite you. You would go, you became friends for 2 weeks, and you guys would meet throughout the season and be like, hey, what's up? Build these bonds. And I was really close with Mark. And obviously the college process starts, and I didn't know anything about college soccer. I just knew, I think I might have known Duke and UCLA just because they're big names in basketball and in just life. Those were the only schools I knew. But we're talking, we're going back and forth, and some kid that played at Philadelphia commits to Wake Forest. Bet. What are we doing? Mark is talking about, yo, I got interest from North Carolina. North Carolina is a good school, amazing this and that. I was like, they got in, or they're calling me too. They're gonna offer me this and that. So we're all going to North Carolina. We decided we were all gonna go to UNC. I don't know where everything changed. I forgot where I was. I think I was I don't know where I was at something for academy. Boom, Mark McKenzie commits to Wake Forest. Said, wow. So we're texting Mark. Mark, what happened? Like, why did you choose Wake? Oh, this, and that. Yo, we should all go, this and that. They told us that this, and that. Okay. Boom, I'm talking to the coaches. Boom, I commit to Wake Forest. Boom, Brendan Cervinia commits to Wake Forest. Boom, Justin McMaster commits to Wake Forest. Boom, this, and that. We didn't know Machop Chol until we met him at Wake. But boom, you see a kid from Atlanta go to, and then it was just us. Like we just knew the freshmen. We didn't know anybody else on the team. But just from us, we were like, yo, we're gonna be a good team because we're good players. Nobody's gonna beat us. And then you get hit in the face where you don't play, and then you start seeing your older players, and you're like, oh, you have John Baccaro, that's our top goal scorer, senior striker. You have Ima Tumasi that's playing in that position, and you're like, okay. And then I honestly, after the first preseason, if our freshman year, I knew we were gonna be a good team.
And you also had,
Yeah,
sorry,
sorry, go ahead.
I would say you also had the likes in your second year, this Canadian dude, Alistair Johnston, just casually slide in. Where is he now? Oh, he's at Celtic, right? Playing for the on the opposite flank of this guy, Alfonso Davies. Like, it's just so cool. And I mean, Isaiah Parente to a lesser degree as well, right? Like there are just, these levels of, and that's one of the reasons why I love college soccer and how it can feed into the league, because you can look back like we just did today, 6 years ago, you're like, wow, I had no idea this sort of team was put together like that.
That team was amazing. And like, I think my second year was, I love my second year. I have regrets of just not being able to win a national championship because I feel like we could have. And then you see certain teams that won it, and you're like, man. So those are the only regrets, that we couldn't have done a little bit better. But it just like it happens. It's whatever. I think it's good. But like my second year, you see the front line. It's me, Machapchol, and it's Aristotle Zera is a freshman, sophomore. We have Bruno Lapa that's a junior, and we have two like it's lower classmen, lower classmen that are taking the line. And I think that year we were the top goals, like we scored the most goals in the country. We did really well for ourselves. It was just like that little final product. But honestly, when we think about Alistair, it's so funny because he comes in, we're like, oh, a kid from St. John's, so goofy, so funny, but super athletic. Comes in as a center mid. He was playing center mid for us. And, obviously he goes to Nashville, boom, right back, Canada, and then everything just takes off. So it's amazing.
Sometimes you got
And
to find the
Andrew, you hear
right.
that? Center mid to fullback.
I would say
I know a
we've
guy who
seen
does
that
that.
trope before. But sometimes you got to find the right fit, right? When you got Nikosi played at I think he was at Penn State for 3 years, and then he moved to Seattle in his last year. A kid that I grew up playing against, center back in Dallas, Nikosi Tafari. I played with him through my youth years, and he ended up. I think he was at Penn State for 3 years. Really didn't get involved too much. Transfers his senior year to Seattle, 15th pick in the draft. Like you just got to find the right place that does it for you, you know?
Yeah, man. Crazy.
Yeah. I'll slide one more in here, unless Connor has a question he wants to ask, because
Nope, go for it.
of all of those, that list of amazing players you played with, you get one player to bring into Colorado to play with, whether it be as a starter or just straight vibes, whatever you want to do. Who's the one guy you're calling from college to be like, all right, you're with us?
Just one player?
Just one. Just one.
You asking them to pick favorites.
Let's say maybe we can go two. Maybe we can go two.
I'll bring Brandon Cervania.
Yep.
And I'll bring Mark McKenzie.
Nice. Two
Mark,
very solid picks.
Mark is funny, man. Mark is funny, man. I think Mark just in the locker room, anywhere, any team, he can always gel and adapt. And Brandon was my duo. He was my roommate, his 6 months. So we had a really good time, as freshmen, and I think, we're really good friends. So I think having him in there would be really good with me too.
Love it.
And they can play their ballers, so they're gonna be able to play and help us as well.
Yeah, that's
no question.
all right. Well, Omir, I just wanted to thank you again so much for hopping on and chatting with us to celebrate not only our season 5, but to kick off season 6, which we are hoping is even bigger and better. We are really, really excited to watch you take on 2025 Champions Cup MLS season. Just want to make you. We hope that you can make it the best year of Omir yet. Yeah.
I appreciate it, man. I'm telling you guys, I would see the hashtag, especially because obviously I would see your designated player your
Mm-hmm.
your profile picture, and every time I would see it under the comments of Red Bulls or mine, and definitely would make me feel good when I performed well and was able to make you guys look good and happy. So like I said in the beginning, it means a lot because even something that small, like you said, um made me happy. I'll never forget it, obviously. Don't think I'll forget it, and for sure helped. So thank you. And
Awesome.
we'll make it a good year for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They said
100%.
I've got Colorado bookmark now to as soon as Red Bull's done, switch right over and pick you all up. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
all right, man. Well, all the best. Thanks so much again for being here. And if you guys enjoyed what you heard and what you watched, make sure you first off make sure you're following Colorado this year. Big things coming. And make sure you're following us wherever you get your podcasts, social media, all that good stuff, so you can see more of this coming out in the near future. But Omir, thanks again for being here. Thanks everyone for listening, and we will see you next time on the next episode of the Designated Players and MLS podcast. See ya.
Yep.